It's just incredible to think about how far we've come in such a short time. Absolutely. And the impact is profound. We hear the faint, soothing sounds of a city at night. Distant traffic, a gentle rain. It's abruptly shattered by the jarring, aggressive theme music of a daytime talk show. The visual rushes forward through a dark tunnel, emerging into the blinding, sterile lights of a television studio. In a world of curated personas and manufactured outrage, one man stood apart. Not through grand statements, but through silent, consistent decency. A man who chose kindness as his rebellion against a cynical industry. Keanu Reeves, the internet's boyfriend, Hollywood's reluctant saint, a figure so universally beloved, he seemed untouchable and to some unbelievable. Keanu quietly helping a crew member on set, giving up his seat on the subway, signing an autograph for a weeping fan. Then cut to shots of Joy Behar rolling her eyes, laughing derisively, pointing a finger in debate. But there is a furnace that exists in the heart of daytime television, stoked by controversy, and fed by confrontation. Its high priestess, Joy Behar, a warrior of words who built a career on skepticism so deep it curdles into contempt. Her weapon, the gotcha question. Her belief that no good deed, no pure motive can survive the harsh light of her scrutiny. The tense ticking soundtrack from the film Speed begins, merging with the talk show theme split screen. On the left, Keanu, a picture of serene, weary grace. On the right, Joy, a hawkish smile on her face. What happens when the bastion of goodness is summoned into the temple of cynicism? What occurs when the man who speaks softly, who has borne unimaginable personal tragedy with a poet's grace, is accused of the one sin he could never commit? Being a fraud. This is not a talk show segment. This is a trial, and the charge is that empathy itself is a performance. Strap in. Witness the moment the world's nicest guy finally said, "No more." The studio is a bubble of perfumed anticipation. The audience, mostly women, chat excitedly about seeing Keanu. Backstage, it's a different world. Keanu stands alone by a monitor, watching the pre-segment banter. He doesn't fidget. He simply observes. His dark eyes taking in the rhythm of the show, the laughter, the interruptions, the subtle jockeying for airtime. He is a samurai entering a noisy marketplace. For Keanu, this was a professional obligation, a stop on the press tour for a film about hope. He entered not with arrogance, but with the gentle weariness of a man who has long understood that his very nature is a puzzle to the entertainment machine. He was prepared to talk about art, about motorcycles, about the craft he loved. He was not prepared for a metaphysical assault on his soul. On set, Joy Behar scans her pre-written notes, not about the film, but circled headlines from gossip sites. Is Keanu too nice? She underlines a phrase, calculated altruism, and shares a smirk with a producer off camera. This isn't an interview, it's a trap being set. Joy Behar saw not a guest, but a thesis to be disproven. In her worldview, a Hollywood A-lister radiating genuine humility was a logical impossibility. It had to be a brand, a facade, and she, the fearless truth-teller, would be the one to pull back the curtain live on air for the ultimate ratings payoff. The stage manager's countdown, the theme music crescendos. Whoopi Goldberg gives her welcoming spiel. Keanu walks out. The audience erupts in a wave of pure, adoring sound. He offers a small humble wave, his smile genuine, but touched with a familiar profound sadness. He sits, folding his hands in his lap, a portrait of patience. Keanu, welcome. It's truly an honor. Let's talk about this new film. It seems to resonate with themes of resilience. Keanu Reeves, his voice is a soft, calming baritone. Thank you, Whoopi. It's about the light people find in dark places. The small hands that reach out to pull you back. I've sat through thousands of interviews with everyone from respected journalists to tabloid reporters, and I can tell you with complete certainty that what you're doing right now has absolutely nothing to do with journalism. This feels personal, and I'm curious about why that is. The other co-hosts were now visibly squirming in their seats. One of them attempted to interject with a comment about Depp's upcoming film, but Behar cut her off with a wave of her hand, clearly determined to continue her line of questioning. Personal. Behar laughed, but it came out forced and unnatural. Johnny, Everything about your life has been personal and public for years. You can't have it both ways. You can't court the media when it benefits you and then act like a victim when people ask tough questions. Depp's smile widened and for a moment he looked almost impressed by Behar's persistence. You know what, Joy? You're absolutely right about one thing. I have been in the public eye for a very long time, and I've learned a few things about people along the way. For instance, I've learned that when someone is this determined to make another person look bad, it usually says more about them than it does about their target. The studio audience was now completely silent, hanging on every word of this unexpected verbal sparring match. Behar seemed to realize that she was losing control of the narrative, but instead of backing down, she decided to escalate even further. Are you seriously going to sit there and lecture me about character? She demanded. You're the one who. But before she could finish her sentence, Depp held up his hand in a gesture that was both polite and commanding. Joy, I'm going to stop you right there because I think we've reached the point where you need to make a decision about what kind of show you want to run here. The silence that followed Depp's statement was deafening. Even the camera crew seemed frozen, unsure whether they were witnessing great television or a complete disaster. Behar's mouth opened and closed like she was trying to find words that simply wouldn't come. And for the first time since the interview began, she looked genuinely uncertain about how to proceed. Depp continued, his voice remaining calm, but gaining an edge that suggested he was done playing defense. You see, Joy, you invited me here under the pretense of discussing my work. But what you really wanted was to create a moment. You wanted to be the person who finally got Johnny Depp to break down on television. The problem is you've made a fundamental miscalculation about who you're dealing with. Behar finally found her voice, though it came out sharper and more defensive than before. I don't know what you think you're implying, but I'm a professional journalist with decades of experience interviewing celebrities. I don't need to create moments. They happen naturally when people are honest. Journalist, Depp repeated, and his tone carried just enough surprise to make it clear he found the description amusing. Joy, with all due respect, you host a daytime talk show where you and your co-hosts discuss pop culture and politics. That's entertainment, not journalism. And the fact that you're trying to hide behind the shield of journalism to justify what is clearly a personal attack tells me everything I need to know about your character. The audience was now completely captivated. What had started as an uncomfortable ambush was turning into something far more compelling. A masterclass in how to handle hostile questioning without losing composure. Several people